Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sara F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sara F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. Chen is down today. We got no Chen today, but we had a really cool intro recorded, but I'm so busy with projects, these things happen. So that got lost to the wind, and I'm here going solo. The main reason is because I have a really great interview to bring to you today. I was over on James Walton's show on Prepper Broadcasting Live, and we just had a blast. I laid out a lot of the information about the Earth changes that I bring to you every week. So I wanted to share that interview with you guys because it was really, really good, and we had a lot of fun putting that together. Remember, you guys can always help the show out by going over to www.changingearth.com. Becoming a member, help support the show. It's very, very appreciated. Also, you can go to preparewithchangingearth.com, get some long-term food supply. You're going to need it, and it also helps the show out. So please support the show in one of those two methods. You can find the full interview that James and I did at prepperbroadcasting.com. That's prepperbroadcasting.com. So check those sites out. You guys have fun and enjoy the interview.
In lieu of another form of great deception, right, which is happening, it's not happening yet. Well, it is happening right now, but it's going to be happening exponentially. And we talk about tsunamis. You're going to be hit with a tsunami of climate change propaganda in the very near future. So what's very important about tonight's conversation and what I want you to take away from it is we have Sara Hathaway with us, and she is, when you have someone on who has a built-in passion about a subject, that's when you get the best content, and that's really the end of it. And that's what we have in Sara tonight. So she's going to come on and tell us about what's happening with the Earth now. And you need these facts to stand on, all right, as things get wonky out there and you start hearing about cow farts and the whole 9 yards. So without further ado, Sara, are you with us tonight?
Hey, how's it going, James?
Always good. Always good to have you on. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, when you said you wanted to talk to me about the Earth, the changing Earth, I was like, woot, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, you and who was it? Ellen.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right? Got me so fired up about what you knew that I didn't know when we were on your podcast. And I was like, you know what? Let's have Sara on to really drop the heat on what's happening on the world for real before CNN starts telling us what they think's happening in the world.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So what do you got going on? So maybe we should start here, because I think this is what's unique about you. We all kind of have our routines in the morning and that type of thing. Where do you go, and what catches your eye when you're looking for Changing Earth news?
Okay, so every single morning I watch Suspicious Observers. The gentleman who does that show just brings science knowledge that is completely over my head at times, and it's all about space news and space weather and how it's affecting our planet. So that's absolutely like the first place that I go, because I got to see what's happening with the sun. And a lot of the information... Oh, go ahead.
Amen. He posts that at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, yeah.
You get that. You can get that he is up.
He's on it. Yeah. And the amount of content that he brings each day, it's phenomenal.
And
Suspicious Observer, huh?
Yep, Suspicious Observer.
Okay, now I have to tell you that a few years back we did an exercise, and it was about a solar flare, and they started following this guy to be able to get enough information to write the exercise.
Mm-hmm.
The
Right.
military did?
The government, the federal government.
Oh.
He brings
this
it,
guy's
James.
name
It is
again?
no joke. Like when I first started watching him, I couldn't even understand like 75% to 80% of what was going on, but I was like, this is interesting. And I kept watching, and he has the disaster series, and a lot of the information that I'm bringing is right out of his disaster series.
You
And
gotta watch Disaster or listen to it or watch it. It's
Yeah.
on YouTube.
yep, it's on
And-
YouTube.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
If you want, it's like Cliff Notes
Right.
for
What's coming?
what's coming.
Yeah.
And it's 12 parts.
Yep.
Do a part every day, and then change your pants.
Right. And then watch it again, because you're going to understand it even better when you watch it again. And after you've been watching his show for a while, it's going to start all clicking together. Oh my gosh, I actually understand what this guy's talking about now, and this is crazy. So I'm going to try and bring it
Suspicious
in like
observers
layman
with a
layman's
0.
term.
Right? Suspicious observers with a 0 if you guys are looking to go get it.
Yeah,
I'll throw
on
the
YouTube. Hmm.
I'll throw the link in the chat.
Yeah,
room.
his material is fantastic. So then, so that's primary. I watch a lot of Dutch Sense, because he brings the earthquake news. I mean, he is very, very on top of the earthquakes, and he's
Earthquakes.
what's that?
Say it again, Dave.
He has it down where he can predict
Yes,
earthquakes.
yeah. His theories are valid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really good stuff.
He's predicting earthquakes.
Yes. He has
Yes,
he'll
yeah.
every time you watch him, you'll learn about his wave theory and how when the energy comes in and punches a certain area, then it ripples out from that area, and you can judge right where the earthquakes are coming down along the fault lines. I mean, he just hit the one that just happened off the coast of Japan. He nailed that within a week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And here's the thing. He'll give you a general area, okay, and then he'll get more specific. But here's the thing: if you're living in a fault area, you better pay attention to this guy.
Yes, and California's on the radar right now.
Oh yeah, big time.
Which parts?
The Cascadia is
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a way overdue, but the energy just keeps
LA
crashing.
County, LA County, which is surprising, they even reported it, but they had 0 COVID deaths today. First time in 400 and some days.
Oh my!
I figured next they'll get hit by an earthquake. That would be kind of funny.
That's God puts the scared people in. He puts the scared people out. He puts the scared people in, and he shakes them all about. That's my California song.
I'm laughing my butt off.
So
then a couple other sites that I really like, Mavstar Observer. He's kind of eccentric, but good stuff. And Adapt 2030. Good.
Oh, okay.
good.
That's the first one I've heard of.
Yeah, good Earth news. He goes into like spiritual realms and stuff too, but he brings a myriad of like the current weird things that are happening that's showing you the trigger. So a lot of my news that I have that's like, look, this is happening is going to come from him.
Got it. Well, okay, so here's a follow-up question on that. Because this is something. Do you find, this is completely unrelated to the earth changing. This is kind of Sara Hathaway life question.
Uh-oh.
Do you find that it's easier? I don't want to get you in any hot water, but I'm going to give you an example from me and you can verify.
Okay.
I could take in way more cool information when I was working for someone else compared to now working for myself. Do you,
It's
do you
true.
find that to be the case?
Because, I'm a prepper, so I do insurance. And that's what I do during the day to make sure I got a roof over my family's house.
Which is
And
perfect.
so
You're
I'm
not in sales, though, are you?
What's that?
Are you in? Do you sell insurance?
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, I can't mention the company. I really love it.
Do you just bring the book series with you?
Oh, yeah,
It's
right.
like
I
the
sell a
best
lot of
sales
books.
tool.
Sometimes, yeah, you have to feel out your client, but sometimes I do make book sales. I do. But to me, insurance is preparedness. So, I mean, it's like the legit preparedness realm. So that's where I work. Yep.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect for it. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So,
I have a blast.
so that's the big reason why I wanted to have you on tonight. And wherever the conversation goes, it's also just fun to talk. But, you kind of do this on a day-to-day basis. Like you're getting bombarded, and thank you for taking one for the team because I don't know if I could handle it.
Yeah,
with everything
yeah.
that I read each day,
And it's hard,
it'll wear you down.
because you're like, there's only X amount of years. And then, but we've heard it so much. You just have to live each day. And you have to just hug your loved ones and thank God for each moment that you have. As cushy as we think it's all messed up right now. And don't get me wrong, there's some things that definitely need to be fixed. But life is pretty darn good for us.
Totally.
So I just thank God every day that I get to wake up in my house, my family. I work from home, so it's good. I have places I want to go. Don't get me wrong, and I'm working really hard towards them. But
it's astounding how good we have it.
Yeah,
on this planet at this moment.
Exactly.
In comparison to say 100 years ago or less.
Right. Right. So that's
and the rest of history.
That's what we
kind of
need to get ready for again, honestly, because well,
let's get into it.
Let's jump into it.
No more beating around the bush.
So the Earth goes on these 12,000 year cycles, and they're called the Heinrich events. And so 12,000 years ago, there was the Gothenburg event, and there was a mega extinction die-off, like huge.
I'm pretty familiar with this one.
Right.
But keep on going, because I don't know if everybody else is, and I love this story of humanity. It's one of my favorite chapters.
So 24,000 years ago, there was the Lake Mungo event. And we had major die-off in Australia, Eurasia, Africa. That's when humans abandoned Africa and started moving out. 36,000 years ago was the Mono Lake excursion. And then 47 is the Lechomp. And then 60, you got the Valslok. And 72 is the Toba event. Now, 72,000 years ago, that's when the largest human bottleneck in human DNA happened, right? So you can clearly see the pattern of about every 12,000 years these happen. So what happens when there's these magnetic excursions? Well, there's climate change events on massive scales. Volcanic unrest, mega earthquakes, and accelerated spinning of the earth, and that's what heats up the magma more so that the plates can start moving. So right now...
Volcanic unrest. That must be a word you got from your homeboy.
Yeah.
Volcanic unrest.
If you know what the volcanic activity has been doing on our planet right now, you're definitely looking at some correlations, okay? It's been insane.
But I don't like volcanoes. I can't say I got many binders full of preparedness plans for volcanic eruptions, to be honest with you.
Oh, you should, actually. There's actually a super volcano over by you that you didn't know
right
about.
on. Well, if it's by me, does it serve me to have a plan? Isn't that kind of
probably
a wrap
not.
when that thing goes off?
No, probably not.
I'll take the Dave Jones approach. Change the pants if at all possible.
Right now, they're figuring that we have about a 25% chance of this magnetic shift happening within the next 5 years, and a 50% chance of it happening within the next 10 years, and a 99% chance that it happens during the actual magnetic excursion, which is happening right now. We're 150 years into a magnetic pole, where our pole is actually moving.
Yeah. And it's moved quite a bit, right?
Yes.
Recently.
And a lot of those only take 100 years to happen. And we're already 150 years in.
Yikes.
Yeah. So for this to happen, for the planet to go through this massive change, for us to actually change rotation and roll over, right? You need a massive solar event to make it happen. And so the solar system has these sheets that go, like we have our own magnetic that outputs, and then there's this magnetic sheet that goes out around our universe that goes in waves, and it hits us like every 7 to 10 days. And these sheets are like supercharged with space dust and stuff like that. So they're constantly hitting us. They're constantly hitting the sun, and the sun's absorbing that stuff, right? So every now and again, the sun actually sheds that off. It blasts it out, right? They know it's true because on the moon, they found vitrified glass. And in order to create that, at that temperature, it had to be hotter than any meteor that could have hit it. So it's the actual sun shedding, wham, and hits the moon, and boom, there it is. So we have our shield, right, to protect us from these kinds of things. But when our magnetic pole is in fluctuation, that whole shield starts weakening. So now we're way more susceptible to it. And one of the really cool pictures, I think this is just from a recent episode too. Oh no, it's one from the disaster series. When the sun's energy hits that and supercharges our planet, it can actually create a backfeed loop that just intensifies the lightning on our planet. So you get the vitrified rock like they found on the Giza Plateau. You know that can't be a meteor hit because the pyramids wouldn't be there anymore.
Right.
That was lightning strikes, right? That created that. It's such intense temperatures that it vitrified the rock like it was a nuclear blast.
Well, that's around that 13,000 mark, right? When they said that it could potentially have been raining.
Right.
Lightning.
Yes. Yes.
Lightning coming down, in other words, like rain, PBN family. Just think about that for a minute.
And last year, our planet just blasted the lightning records. Especially in
did
the
it really?
Arctic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's picking up. Hey, and one of the things, going back to the Apollo missions, one of the things that they told them to look for when they were picking up rock, okay, it was part of the mission plan to find this stuff. So it had been all theoretical up until that point. Now they have actual physical evidence that this occurs.
Right. And you got to think of it like a Swiffer duster, right? So the duster picks up dust because of magnetism, right? Well, we all do, our planets, our sun, they all do the same thing. So when your duster gets dirty, you have to shake it off, right? That's basically what the sun does.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm tired of all this. You take it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah, you're the only one that makes me want to think about living underground, because I know that's how our ancestors survived it.
I would hate to live underground. I'd be like, peace out.
They had to go underground.
They did. And I have a piece about that for you. Here, let me find it. So in all of our ancient cave art from 12,000 years ago, there's tons of the sun spirals with the outer shell, with the blast coming out from the outside. Tons of those types of pictures.
I'm looking it up right now because I love cave art.
Yes, I knew you'd love that part, so I had to bring that to you. You should check out these videos, James. It's no joke.
Oh my!
Right. So,
no, I'm sure it's very interesting. I might have a heart attack.
Right.
If I listen to that all morning, plus whatever everything else.
Because they're like, there was one gentleman who. So I'm jumping around a little bit now, but you're leading me along here. There was one gentleman who brought the theory. So they did the actual Apollo missions, and then the Pentagon sent Project Nanook in the 1940s, and they proved that it was this 12,000 year cycle. It goes a 90-degree tilt, and then at the next cycle it tilts back. And so this one guy wrote a book about it. I have his name somewhere, Charles Hapgood. Okay, he wrote this book about it. And his theories were so absolutely flawed that it discredited the whole field of research, because his stuff was, everybody's just like, yeah, whatever, dude. You don't even know what you're talking about, right? And that's how the CIA was able to bury all of this information from Project Nanook, from the glass that they found at Apollo, and now like the ancient alien theories and stuff are bringing up these glass pieces like, hey, were we hit by nuclear? No. We were hit by the sun event, right?
Solar.
Yeah. And it was a solar event
This picture.
that they have tried
Now,
to
let me
bury.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, so Hapgood actually tied all of our, what some people would call mythology, because the human race has survived the last two cataclysms.
Right.
So there's legends that have grown up around this, part of it's our Bible.
Yep.
Okay.
No, definitely, yeah.
And part of it is, folklore. But when you tie it all in together, all around the world, because this is a worldwide event, these people recorded what actually happened. And as for those cave art things, they painted what they saw.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
Look at the other ones. There's animals, and they can actually determine which animals were painted. So if the sun was in this spiral looking thing, that's what they saw.
Yep. The legends come out of the Inca, the Bible, the Chinese, the ancient Americans. Stories of the days the earth stopped rotating, no dawn for 20 hours. The dwelling place above will appear as a blue star. That's from the Hopi. And then the earth was on fire from horizon to horizon.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, from the black. Right? Yeah, where's your caves at, dude?
That's great.
So
The
the good news is there is a serious amount of bunkers built beneath our country. Now, who gets to go down there? We'll see.
I ain't going down in no bunker with anybody. I don't know. That's for sure. Unless I'm sure I can kill them immediately as we get down there.
Right.
That's about the only way I'm going in a bunker with anybody I don't know.
So that's why I watch the sun every morning, though, because there's only a few times when it can actually happen. And that's when, the sun, well, it's got to be the sun novaing, blasting that sheet out at us. Or it can actually be a magnetic event where we get hooked with the sun. That's what causes a lot of earthquakes on the earth. Right?
That's wild.
But we need
to even consider.
Right. But we need the superheat to start affecting the magma. So right now, 2020, they recorded the shortest day ever in recorded history.
So she's moving quicker.
And this year, they've had to redo their estimates like every other week because we keep moving that much faster. We're recorded at like 129 milliseconds. Now, this isn't much. You're not going to notice it. But you can bet our magnetism and our planet does. Because the faster it spins, the hotter that gets, then it starts letting our plates slide around more instead of being in a locked formation. Exactly. So everybody who laughed at me about my books, oh, it was an earthquake. Yeah.
I don't know anybody who laughed at you because of your books.
A little homework there on it. I don't know. No, I have had people like, earthquake, dude. What are you talking about? I'm like,
really?
Have you not read the Bible or like heard any of the ancient stories that the world's going to
They happen every year. What's unfeasible about it?
Yeah. Well, worldwide, right? Worldwide earthquake.
Yeah. I know, but I mean, if it were about worldwide nuclear war, nobody would bat an eye.
Yeah. Right.
It'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
That could totally happen.
Right. Mm-hmm. Probably see the world on fire from horizon to horizon before we see a worldwide nuclear war, hopefully.
Right.
But
so what they're saying though is like when all this starts happening and the crust is moving and whatnot, you get a lot of volcanic activity. When you get a lot of volcanic activity, you get a lot of sulfur dioxide in the air. When you get a lot of sulfur dioxide in the air, you have another ice age coming.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense.
So they're actually predicting global cooling, which is extremely opposite of what they're saying. They're saying, well, the global warming is melting the ice caps. which is throwing off the ocean currents. And yeah, a fair amount of that melting is throwing off the ocean currents, but it's also the magnetism of our actual planet that's throwing off the ocean currents as well because of this movement.
It's clear that the climate change story, well, to your point, it might take you a month to figure out what the hell these guys are even saying. So obviously they got to craft a message that they can feed to the masses who just can, take a look at a Twitter post and go, "Oh my God, we got to do something."
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of how it
time,
works. And they're obviously not going to go down the big picture of, the Earth's magnetism and rotating faster and that whole thing, which is it's wild to even consider. But I have almost no, well, I mean, I guess what really works for me with you, Sarah, is that I knew the history of mass extinction events previously, and I think that's a really good prerequisite to talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
because then it seems like, well, it already happened, as opposed to like, what is this? This is some kind of Hollywood.
Right. Well, they're saying, all these extinctions were because of meteors. Well, I mean, maybe because our shield's not as intense at that point. When the magnetic poles are moving, our shield isn't as good. So maybe the meteor could get through. But it always seemed a little lackluster to me. And now when you look at the 12,000 year cycle, really, a meteor hit us every 12,000 years? It seems to me like something else is going on. And if you start studying like the recurring novas that are out there in the universe, they happen on consistent cycles for the most part. So why would our sun be any different?
Sure.
Yeah,
it's got a track record.
It's not a full nova. It's like a micronova, like the sun farts.
Yeah, it's true. It sloughs. It sloughs off this piece.
Hold on, I gotta write that down. We're gonna make a T-shirt for Sarah.
The sun fart.
Yeah, preparing for sun farts.
It's true. It's true. Well, and they say if it were to go be a full crustal ejection, way before that, we're not going to have any power on our planet. We're going to be in survival mode before the sun ever turns dark, because it would turn dark before it did a full shed. And they're not predicting that for this cycle at all. There's been more intense cycles and less intense cycles, and they're not predicting that for this cycle, that it would be a full on event like that. But it's something to definitely prep for and to be ready for. And if we lost power and we're living like they were 100 years ago, you're going to have to know what to do there, how to get your food and whatnot. So,
I mean, it's sick, but there's a part of me that God, I wouldn't mind seeing the sun go dark for a few days and then explode. I mean, there are a lot worse ways to go. But that would be pretty sweet to see, even though you probably wouldn't look at it. What do you think, Dave Jones? Would that be like looking into a nuke? Probably blind, right? Automatically.
Oh, yeah, you're dead.
It would be a bad day. But the government has known about this for 40 or 50 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put my conspiracy theory hat on right now. Okay. So they've been building these underground DUMBs, deep underground military bases.
Got it.
That's okay. Awesome. Now I'm not telling
everybody into the dumb.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where they are. Okay. But they do exist. And whether they were built for nuclear bombs or whether they were built for a sun fart, okay, they're the same thing.
Right.
And that's how people will survive. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody else on the surface is toast, because it's not that way. But some of the effects with this crust shifting will be hundreds of miles an hour wind and tsunamis, on the coasts. And it will shift in the direction that it's traveling. So east to west. So the West Coast, the sea will be sucked out.
Yep.
Japan will be, flooded with a tsunami.
Yep.
The East Coast will hit a big tsunami 100 feet, between 100 and 200 foot.
Oh,
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's no joke. Because think about like when
another
the Earth,
thing I wouldn't mind seeing.
when the
If I
Earth,
had to,
when the Earth spins, it creates a bulge at the equator, right? So
Right.
it's spinning, it bulges out at the equator. You can actually see like where the old lines have been. If you look at like ocean maps and stuff, you can see old lines on the planet. And so as that tilts and moves, it's going to bulge in a different area. It's going to pull some oceans. It's going to push some the other way, right? As your continents are now a little bit freer to slip around more. Yeah, I mean
giant
they have
tsunamis,
they
the world's on
maps
fire.
of Antarctica up by Africa with land, and not covered in ice,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and they have the map that it's drawn. It's the lakes, the mountains are where they're supposed to be. The lakes are where they are. Like everything's accurate. So they're like, how did they get this map of Antarctica with no ice?
Yeah, it's hard to imagine the atmosphere not blocking sun out after everything that we've done and everything that nature is doing
Right?
and everything we pick. And I guess everything we pick up in space probably attributes to it too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
we get
also-
hit with this sheet that, zoop, zoop, that's why you see the Aurora Borealis.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's favorite superhero, Elon Musk, is doing his part to block the sun out with all his garbage that he shoots up.
It's trying to get to Mars. So the magnetic field right now, it's been on the march, right? It's been on the march. Everybody's like, oh, it does it all the time. No. It's seriously moving. And
Yeah, when I saw the picture of it, it was like, it reminded me like somebody had stabbed the earth with
like
some new stuff.
right. And so they were
on the other
predicting like
side.
maybe 2050 this stuff would go down, but it accelerated again in 2017, again in 2019. I mean, it is on the move right now. So they're saying like 2040 or earlier for this flip to happen, which is just crazy. So you can just look for like increased auroral activity is going to happen. There'll be more lightning events because it's just supercharging. And, 2030, if we don't get a major solar event, the sun has been super calm lately. So, I mean, that's really good news as far as it goes. Another thing that happens from our magnetic shield weakening is increased cardiovascular problems. So, like,
What?
yeah. So heart attacks will increase a lot from people getting hit by the space radiation. And last year, the actual biggest killer was not the virus you're all thinking of. It was
of course not.
actually cardiovascular. And
It usually is, though, right? That's
right.
usually pretty typical.
but I'd like to look at the numbers because that is one thing they claim is going to be an uptick from the space radiation and then decrease cognitive ability. So they did this
great.
experiment on rats to see what would happen when they get hit by more and more of the spatial radiation. And they were not able to perform the normal things they were trained to do within that first week. And then they got a little bit better, increased sensitivity to pain and just more erratic behavior.
Now I have an excuse. Why the hell am I getting shit all the time?
Right?
There you go.
That's what I'm
Blame it
saying.
on
And like,
the
look
magnetic
at how
field.
people are acting though.
Yeah,
Kind of weird, right?
Right?
very.
So
Very
you
weird.
got to wonder, like, how, we're all tied together. We're all tied together in this process with our planet, with our solar system and everything that goes on. So it's very interesting to me. Very interesting stuff.
That is wild to consider.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Because, so just, watch out for, if you're at cardiac risk and stuff, just take it a little extra easier and stuff. So,
Yeah, it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder how far along we've been before. That's what I've always wondered. And when you start listing off the things that could happen, and now what really makes me nervous is that, because I never heard of that before. Lowered cognitive ability. So is it is the human race in like this weird cycle where we go from getting real smart to becoming caveman dumb again and then start all over just because the planet,
Yeah.
And how many times have we done that? We know 2 for sure.
Exactly.
But how many times have we got like super smart? We know one time we built pyramids, right?
Right.
Well,
how many super advanced societies have we built in the past that have just been destroyed? Yeah. And then time ticks on and you don't see any of the remnants, only rock.
Right. Maybe the only difference this time is metal. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but even the metal would go.
Over. Yeah, but we'd find it underground. You know what I mean?
If it
was comparable.
They've found that one hammer or whatever that's petrified and everything is not supposed to be in existence. And it's really? Like million. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we also have
in a loop.
2 solar observing satellites. So Soho 1 and Soho 2, they sit at a geopositioned stationary to the right and the left of the planet, and they're observing the sun.
Okay.
And they're in what they call a sweet spot, so they never get further away. The gravitational pull is equilibrium for them, so they'll stay there forever.
They don't orbit the planet, they literally sit still in space.
They sit still and move with the whole solar system. And what we have is an early warning. Now, early warning can be 4 to 8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if the sun just decided to then there was a filament this morning that was eyes on, because everything was quiet except for this one little filament at the bottom that was like, we're just going to keep our eye on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The government will have this 4 to 8 minute warning. Will they ever pass it down to anybody else? I don't think so.
Dude, from Suspicious Observers will, except that was glitching the other morning.
True.
Yeah. So.
Man.
Okay, so other signs that prove that this is en route, okay? So I just called this out of my research that I've been doing past few months. I always do a little segment on my show about what's happening this week and what kind of changes we're seeing. So
definitely got to check it out, guys.
Yeah. So we've had the highest number of earthquakes ever recorded in the first 65 days of the year. There was 42 6.0 or higher earthquakes.
Wow. It's almost one a day.
Right? There was 220 lightning records obliterated, or 2020 obliterated the lightning records. So that one's done. 4 whales were found in 1 week in California. Now, usually there's like 13 for the year, right? But whales use magnetism to navigate.
Sure.
For 1 week. Okay. The once-in-a-lifetime cyclone storm that hit Australia. Not supposed to be there. It was not supposed to be there at all. All the flooding that they had was actually this huge cyclone storm. The cherry blossoms in Japan, they tend to follow the sun cycles and coincide with major sun cycles. And the last time they bloomed this early was in 8/8/16. And one of their big dynasties died off like right after that. It was a sign, and like 2 years later, that dynasty was gone.
I did read something about this. Yeah, I read something about this the other day.
Yeah, so like not 8/16. There was record colds across all the U.S. grow centers. France hit record colds. Their grape crop got obliterated, which is that's long term. When the vine dies, not just the grapes, that's bad news. Saudi Arabia, listen to this. Saudi Arabia, 90 degrees. Hailstorm. Enough hail fell that it accumulated on the sand. So 90-degree temperature outside.
What?
And you have hail accumulating on that hot sand.
Wow.
Okay? This is like out a day after tomorrow, right? Australia, the cold came in 2 months early following that huge cyclone. China is also getting record colds. Moscow, while everybody else is getting record colds, Moscow just broke 140-year warm temperature. California's water, they're in drought again. That's a lot of our food supply, though, people. So as much as you don't like California, that's where a lot of our food supply comes from. And they're down to 1/4 of their water for farmers this year.
Wow.
Volcanic, I talked to you already about the volcanic eruptions, just massive scale. So just from La Soufrière that erupted, and it went 44,000 feet into the air, and the sulfur dioxide went from St. Vincent into the far end of the Mediterranean and even into Africa. Yeah. And then I talked to you about the shortest days. So,
and we haven't even mentioned the which is a typical doomsday scenario, but the Earth moving in this direction would obviously do something like trigger one of these super volcanoes, which will get it all done real quick, right?
Right. So there's some back and forth on that, especially on Yellowstone. So Yellowstone, if you listen to the scientists who are doing science, they think that it's because it moves across the planet, right? And they think it's actually cut off from its actual magma source. So yeah, all that magma might be sitting there, but they think it's cut off from the magma source.
Great news.
Where you keep your eye on is the Long Valley caldera. That's below Mammoth.
Remind me where that is again.
That's below Mammoth Mountain, in between California and Nevada, towards more southern. Okay? And that is a super volcano sitting in there that very few people actually realize is there. And that sucker has been having earthquakes. It has fires that burn around the outside, like spontaneous fires, just because it's getting too hot. And they say, somebody a garbage truck or something. No, they just the magma's that close that they're starting fires on top of the earth. So really incredible stuff if you're into the changing planet, and because I just think it's so arrogant that we think, we live on this place and it's been the same forever and it's never going to change.
Well, I think something similar. I think it's so arrogant that we can say we'll fix it.
Oh yeah, there's this is adaptation. This is adapt and survive, adapt and survive, adapt and survive.
We'll fix it. All we got to do is stop flying planes and burning fossil fuels, and all this stuff will be taken care of.
There's no fixing. And a volcano can outdo us in 2 seconds. Hundreds of years of us doing what we're doing. Volcano can do that in 2 seconds. So
for sure. I mean, you could argue it's already happening.
So my theory, a little bit of tinfoil hat for you.
Let's do it.
Like Dave Jones was saying, they've known about this for 40 years. They know what's coming. And now all of a sudden we have the Great Reset. We have people getting used to standing in food lines. We have people getting used to being controlled.
Shortages,
personally,
lockdowns.
I think it's preparing the population for what's coming. They don't want to tell you what's coming. They're just going to force you to prepare for it ahead of time, basically. Right?
It does seem like the move that you would make, though, if you were think about it. If you were in control, you can't just come out and say, hey,
this stuff's happening. We need to get ready.
Right. Yeah. You're all screwed in 30 years. So
right.
Figure it out.
Right.
But
so you
stay
start
civil.
Training people.
Yeah.
To, start rationing off your stuff. We're building these bunkers. They exist. Rumor, right? So, and then the elites are buying land. So there's already places like Plan B Marine. They have these boats that are just sitting there on the edge of Manhattan, ready to roll. So if something happens, boom, they get the elites right out of there. A matter of minutes.
It's hilarious. Where are you running to?
Yeah, exactly. Where?
If it all goes down, I want to be on a boat. That's where I want to be.
Well, you could ride the tsunami out, maybe.
Honey, we're back home.
There's tons of doomsday. The elites are buying tons of land in New Zealand for bunkers. Now,
I can't figure that out either.
I'm not sold on an island. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that. I
Right?
don't understand the New Zealand. I mean, I know there's
And
plentiful natural resources, but like, man, you're going under.
so they're projecting the pole to go to like southern Indonesia area. I mean,
That's
so
where it's going to end up.
yeah. Yep.
So what is the correlation between where the pole is and proximity to where it gets bad? Is there a correlation there, or is it just the switching of the poles turns everything
There
into
has to
madness?
be that other trigger, right? Because if it keeps traveling slow and it's a nice slow process, then there's a chance we could just absorb, right? As we move, the bulge is going to, but it, like happening so slowly that it's not a big deal, right? And that's what Hapgood said would happen, is that it's so slow, it happens over thousands of years, and we never see it happening, right? But now they prove that it
Normally.
can happen within 100-year span. So, I mean, that's on the move. So there has to be that
Close.
trigger. So what we're praying for is that because our magnetic shield is so weak while that pole is in motion, that we don't get a sun event and we don't get any kind of novaing from the space because our shields are basically down. But you have to watch about the solar system sheets and stuff that we go through. There's bigger ones on top of the little ones that we travel through. So there's a whole bunch of things that can happen. It's just that we're in such a weakened state when the poles are in motion that it can be a lot worse, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's things we don't even know about.
Right.
On top of
Exactly. And
things
like
we can fly through in space we have no idea about, right?
and like nova events that we've never recorded before. And we might
Yeah,
see
of
it
course.
once and it doesn't happen for another 12,000 years, so we would never know that it was a recurring one.
Right.
Right? So yeah. But yeah, there has to be some kind of a trigger. See, and that's Albert Einstein was studying this. And he thought that it was the weight of the ice on Greenland that would pull the earth and like always keep it north. Well, he didn't
Really?
have yeah, right. He didn't have access to the amount of information that we have about the sun and about novas and things like that we have now to be able to put it together on what could be the trigger to make the planet more molten inside. So it's slipperier, basically. Because
Terrifying.
yeah, you know how everybody
Terrifying.
like does the earth, like when you see the interior of the earth, it's like a ball with the ball around it and a ball around it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not how it actually is. There's like magna ball bulges that come up in different areas and things like that. So it's not a perfect spin. And that weight also, once you get that slipping around, that can whoop and move it over, right? Because it's not a perfect spin. Yeah. So I mean there's all kinds of different triggers, and like I say, definitely, I mean, if you're into this as much as I am, you want to check out that disaster series. And if not, keep watching my show. I'll bring you news on it. I don't have a problem with that. But the elites are buying up land. I mean, if you go and do any research on it, tons. Ted Turner has like 1 million acres in New Mexico, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota. Reddit CEO Steve Huffman, he's not shy about the fact of what he thinks coming. He's already had like LASIK because he's like, when stuff happens, I got to be able to see, you know. Bill Gates even bought up the 24,000 acres of land in Arizona to make a smart city and all this. And if you look at the areas where they're going to, it's self-sustainable areas where there's like coal around, water supply, that kind of stuff that are abound. So they know about it. Now I hope you know about it, because
Oh
you
yeah.
should, right?
Yeah, we know about it. So here's the thing. So for Sarah, who spends so much time in this thing, it seems like there's kind of two modalities for you. And one is taking action and prepping, and the other is understanding the potential for overwhelming force from Mother Nature.
Yes.
Is that about right?
Yeah. I mean, that's, what my book series is all about, is just Mother Nature creates challenges and challenges. and just us being ready to adapt to that. And then not even that, but like how people would react and how societies would react. And, usually if there's a natural disaster, we can all swoop in to help each other. And we do. I mean, Americans are so charitable.
Oh, yeah.
And we help each other like nobody's business. But imagine if that disaster was across the whole country and you're just trying to help yourself. Nobody's coming to help.
No way.
Yeah. I mean,
No
and then
way.
you have to do national triage on a national level. So you have to decide, like, this coastline is screwed. We can't save it. We have to focus on the things where we can save. Like when you walk into a group of bombed people, right? There's some that are savable and some that are going to die. So you just can't even put your effort there. Right. If even that,
Yeah.
So that's what my book's about, is like national triage level, where they were like, California's done, we're cutting that off, and it just snowballs from there, literally. But that's what I try to tell people is, hey, let's not lose our relationship with our planet, because when things start moving and shaking, we're going to have to know how to adapt. We're going to have to know how to work within those confines again, not just these technological confines. And I worry about a lot of people.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people you could tell this stuff to till you're red in the face, and they'll,
you can't save them all.
It's not going to cause any movement.
Right.
They're not going to do anything.
Absolutely.
So you said you're going hard on food, Sarah?
That's
That's one of your big preps now?
That's one of them. Well, I mean, with what's going on the planet and what's going on societally with the food supply, food is the big charge right now, because we got the new place. So it's time to get new gardens in. We have an established fruit tree, but we got some more fruit trees in, nut trees, and then I'll have chickens back and everything. But
nice.
Yeah, wood prices right now are just incredible.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna take down an old privacy fence and build that into our chicken coop.
Yeah, I've been thinking of something similar for some of the goats, the Dave Jones goats that are coming.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't do goats anymore. I did that
No,
once.
not a fan.
No, I'm not a fan. Maybe the little pygmies, but I had big goats and they are just so mischievous, and I don't really care for the meat. So, but pigs, I'd be more than happy to have a pig again.
Yeah, pigs are fun. Good eating.
Yeah, they smell really bad to have to clean their area, but they're definitely good eating for sure. Yeah, and we're in Texas, so it's really awesome, the amount of community and farmers market and local meat sourcing and stuff like that. So that's the networks that we're forming right now.
And that's what you want, man. That's what I always talk about. You got to get with the local farmers.
Yep.
More than just showing up. Get the cards, give them a call.
Right. Support their efforts, because those are the ones that you're going to need when your community needs them.
That's right. And if you
don't
can have the direct line, man, you can get food when other people can't, and that's important.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, I don't want to grow a garden. Or not everybody, but a lot of people are like, I don't want to grow a garden. I don't want to, raise. Like, you don't have to. Go to the farmer's market. Buy enough food there that you can practice some canning and support their efforts, because they want to do it. So you're going to be useful in a different area. But
there's really no reason why they would stop unless things like, so we do a couple things. There are pickups. You can go direct to farm. This is everywhere now, but you can go direct to farm and pick up a bunch of stuff. You can have stuff delivered to your house if you're in their area. And that's one of those weird things where I don't see why they would stop doing it.
Unless
if
it was
you had
a threat.
something, right? If you had something that they wanted, even if monetary, regular paper money wasn't working, if you had something that they wanted, I don't see why they would just say, forget about all this infrastructure. We're not growing food or raising animals anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And we're also just going to starve.
Like for me, I'd be like, okay, I'll provide defense, that's probably my best area. I could help, but
there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. And you want to be the first person in there recommending it,
And you want them to already know who you are.
Exactly. That's key.
Yeah,
That's key, because you can't outwork the farmer. You're never going to make that much food unless unless you're on 40 acres and you're going to be a farmer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, then that's your job. Exactly.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a tall order. I don't know that I'd want to be a farmer in something like that.
Me neither. But I would definitely, help support somebody else's infrastructure for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd run some security shift on there for
Right? Yeah, or like work in some fields and stuff like that.
Definitely.
No problem. Yeah.
Definitely.
So bring what the knowledge and skills that I possess to the table. But
Well, I think you got a really great message, a really great prepping mentality, Sarah. You know what I mean? Which is, it's that combination of action and gratitude that I think preppers usually are missing, one or the other. You know what I mean? It's like I'm prepping for the end, and I'm becoming this hardened prepper that's ready for anything, and I'll shoot anybody who comes. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
And I think they miss out on sort of the gratitude aspect, which, being who you are and having the wonderful family that you have. It's a great lesson for preppers out there. Live every day like it is the last. Nobody should understand that better than us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's the thing. You can just get so bogged down in it, and that's no way to live. I've lived years in depression, and I made the decision that I was never going to do that again. So
that's usually what it takes, right?
Yeah, exactly. And now it's just like everybody's like, well, why would you tell other people that you're a prepper? Well, if you don't talk about it, and if you don't, try and share your knowledge, then they're never going to learn, and they're going to be one of those needy people in a situation instead of a prepared person. So why would I not share,
I really have trouble believing that people put your name on a short list for the places that they're going to.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Do something nefarious to, or even head to in a serious situation. We lived through a pretty serious situation last year, Yeah. And what did everyone do? Stay in the house. And I can't imagine it being any different unless the houses are gone, Yeah. But if there's houses, people, and not immediate threats, then people are, and even if there are immediate threats, people are still going to stay in the house, the majority.
Yeah.
I can't see them going like, Sarah, yeah, she said she was a prepper. Let's drive all the way
drive over
across
there
town
and check it out.
Try to accost her, and who knows what we'll run into. And we already know she's a prepper, so she's probably going to be shooting at us when we pull up already.
Yeah.
That sounds like a reasonable risk.
I don't need guns. I got 2 right on my body.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, So it's a lot of nonsense when I think about all that OPSEC stuff primarily.
Well,
I mean, there are definitely
too,
parts and pieces.
If you really think about it, like, people have to choose to be uncivil.
Yeah.
So people could choose to be civil and work together just as easily as they could choose to be uncivil,
Yeah, and hopefully you've surrounded yourself, maybe not you because you've moved recently, but hopefully if you've been nested somewhere for a while, you've already got, a bunch of allies around you, I would hope.
Right.
You know what I mean? And even if they're not diehard preppers, they're people that like, Sam and Jane down the street, they're going to be coming outside and helping out with stuff. Things go bad.
This is Texas, so I got some cool people around me already. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Not hard. You just get out but
I had some people in my neighborhood years before I even started working on my neighborhood, because I've done some work on this neighborhood over the years. And years before, I mean, I think it was our second, maybe third year, something like that. They just came right out and said it. I had a generator, and I was going down the street after a bad storm. And I was like, if you got to charge devices or whatever, feel free, generators on back if you want to use it. Because, I don't ever use, I mean, I get it, people who put the whole house generators in and stuff like that. But man, when I put my little generator on, we use like nothing.
Yeah.
We use like almost no power.
I understand, like, if you have medical problems or something like that.
Yeah,
that would be
right.
necessary. Yeah. Yeah.
But we power the fridge. I mean, we could wash clothes if we wanted and all that stuff.
Right.
And it's just, that those little portable, they're awesome. But anyway, I was putting that out to neighbors down the street, and one family just out of the blue says, "No, we got everything we need. We're preppers." And they go
Nice.
mosey on into the house, and I looked at my wife and just like, yes.
Yeah, one of my neighbors too. I was just talking to him about the January 6th thing, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm ready. I could go. I'm a prepper. I could go." And I'm like, "Oh, yep, all right, me too, man. Thumbs up," So.
Yeah, there's a lot more out there, and there are more out there nowadays. After last year, a lot of people saw things and took action.
That's true. Yeah.
But
which again, you see what I'm saying about them prepping the population,
right,
for disaster.
Yeah, what could be better?
Mm-hmm.
What could be better than a virus with 99.6%
survival rate? That's why I
Shut the
say
whole
it's just
country
weird
down.
things like that. And you really, California is like propaganda land. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And even before the virus and everything, for the wildfires, they were like, prepare, have your go bag ready, be ready to evacuate, and blah, 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 blah. Like every other commercial on the radio. I was just like, as a prepper, I'm a fan. I'm like, yeah, dude, yes. Sure. Finally, they're like getting people ready. But it was like so overwhelmingly, I was like, what are they getting us ready for? And then sure enough, we had the blackouts.
There you go.
I was
Power
like, boom.
was getting shut off.
Mm-hmm. They knew.
Get them used to that.
Yep. Start sending them the message.
Oh, yeah. Well, you look at global warming, and you can look at global warming cynically and from your point of view and just say, yeah, it's just a push to get as many people off grid as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Get your solar panels. We'll give them to you free.
Well,
for God's
come on.
sakes.
Electric cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How do you make electricity?
Yeah, I love that one.
I mean,
that's my favorite.
And then they get the
Teslas,
special.
save the world.
So only the elites can buy electric cars, right? Because they're hell of expensive.
Right.
Then you get the special lane on the highway because you got the electric car.
Of course.
Right. And you get the special rate on the registration renewal because you got an electric car. It's such a gamut.
Oh, there'll be special parking spots and everything. I already seen them at Disney.
Oh, yeah. Oh, California's
nice
we got them all.
Parking spots.
Oh, yeah.
You come
a
little closer with your
HOV
electric.
lane. You can ride
They'll
in there.
be punching people.
Yeah.
The lovely liberals will be knocking each other out over their electric car spaces. Watch.
Right.
The compassionate ones over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
true.
so one more question before I let you go, because this is and I want you to tell everybody about your books and of course about the audio drama that's out now, because I mentioned it in the DAC, but just in case people didn't hear it. When you, and this is another personal one, but it won't affect your employment. Sorry about that last one.
Oh, no. That's fine. I just can't mention my company. That's all.
No, okay, that's fine. I never know anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've been out of the loop too long.
Yeah, no, I got a good boss. He's awesome.
Good. That's so good. So when you peek into the bedroom, maybe say of your youngest, and he's sleeping. I'm sure you do this, like all parents do.
I do.
And you see him there, cooing away, and you got an adorable little son too.
Thank you.
What comes to mind when you think about, like, I've been lucky, I've had, I've been married, I've had kids, I've had this life experience. What types of things come to mind when you look at your baby sleeping and you will have, in the back of your head this tornado of information?
So the first thing that I do is make sure his knife is on his nightstand sitting next to him.
Oh, that's great.
I know. I'm just, this is how I am. Mine's right next to my bed, So, and his room's like right in the front. So I always worry because I've just studied way too much stuff. So, so I make sure his knife's there. I've really upticked his survival knowledge, basically his training lately. Just, how to make a fire, how to grow food with us, how to preserve it, how to, do everything that I do. He's right there with me. He's actually like one of my very best friends. So both of them, Fletch is 20 and turning 21 this year, which is crazy.
Oh, man.
I know. He'll be, no, he won't be 21 yet at prepper camp, but, and, Chris is turning 10, and I worry about their future, yes, but they know that I will do anything to ensure their survival. And my journey that God put me on, I believe, was a lot for their benefit, because there's no way they would have learned as much that they know if I wouldn't have been put on the course that I was on. So, yeah, so that I really believe that I'm giving them all the skills. I pray to God it doesn't happen in my lifetime, or theirs, right?
Yeah.
But, should something like that happen, they know I would give all to ensure their survival. And I just pray that I have given them enough skills to be able to adapt with the planet and keep the family lineage going.
I only ask such a tough question because I don't have people on all the time who I know the gravity of it all and have young kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to look out onto the landscape and be like, maybe we'll go to World War III and that'll end, or we'll have some civil unrest or even an economic collapse that we'll pull ourselves out of. But this is a
well,
there are lifetimes of people who are going to be affected by something like this,
Yeah, and you don't want to scare them.
Oh, of course.
But on the same note, I don't want them to not understand.
Beautiful. Sara Hathaway in the Changing Earth joining us tonight. That was great. I appreciate it.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Always fun. Dave Jones popped in. He knows a ton about this information as well. Follows a lot of the same sites that I do. So great to have him piping in, and always fun to spend time with James. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did doing that interview, or listening to it and enjoying it. Remember to support the show. Head on over to www.changingearthseries.com. Become a member. Help support the Changing Earth going round. If you're concerned even more about your long-term food supply at this point, head on over to preparewithchangingearth.com. That's preparewithchangingearth.com. It's my affiliate link to Patriot Supply, and they have some awesome food supplies over there. Highly recommend their products. So let's preparewithchangingearth.com. Thanks, guys. We will be back live on Twitch at 5:30 Central Standard Time next week. So hope to see you there. It's always fun to have you guys in the chat room and sharing with the show as it's going on. Definitely a blast, and added a new element to the show that I really love. Thank you guys for listening. And until next week, remember, dream, survive, thrive.
Thank you for joining Sara and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast at www.authorSaraFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing